Hello, everyone. I am here today with an international superstar female. Megan Pormer is incredible. The more that I dive into this woman and the more that you learn her story and what drives her, you are going to be so enlightened and inspired. She has graced the cover of countless magazines. She's walked on red carpets. She sat with some of the greatest people in the world that we all admire. She has a show on Fox, and she has a biomedical engineering degree, right? Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a mouthful. She's smart too. So let's dive in and welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you so much for having me. I just want to start this by thanking you for creating a platform for people to connect, because I always read and hear these messages from people saying, nobody's going to save you other than yourself. No one's going to show up for you other than yourself. And I wish I could agree with that, but that hasn't been the case for me. Mm-hmm. For me, if it wasn't because of power of connection and connecting with other people, I would not even discover who I am. So creating a platform to connect more and more people is life-changing. So by creating this platform, you're changing a lot of lives. And I always tell people, I say, you know what? Go out there and get heartbroken, get your trust betrayed, get like upset and like depressed by losing loved ones and being betrayed by the loved ones. Get that wrong 1,000,000 times, but only if you get it right a few times in your whole lifetime. That's gonna set you apart from everybody else, and that's gonna allow you to evolve in your, the person that you were meant to be.
Amen. And gain a tremendous amount of resilience along the way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I always say that people are portals, and people come into your life for different reasons, different seasons. And I deeply resonate with what you say, because so many angels have come into my life, mentors that woke me up from my slumber and really have helped me heal. And that's where I want to begin with you. You know, I recently watched an interview with you and the legendary Dr. Amen, and it was so beautifully vulnerable and transparent about your journey. Here's this woman who, from the world's perspective, you're on magazines, you're crushing it, you're, doing so much great work, but you're suffering in silence. And you had a breakthrough recently in your life, stepping into being a queen. Can you share with us this whole journey? Where did you begin? And I know you weren't always, you weren't born here. You came here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a proud Middle Eastern woman. Grew up in a very Middle Eastern society, culture, and family with Middle Eastern values, which later in life, I realized that I need to acknowledge and understand that the culture I grew up in is different than the Western culture. And it's something that needs to be addressed, not just for me, but for all other Middle Eastern women around the world that grew up with a certain culture and certain societal and cultural values, but then trying to blend into the Western world. And that was the case for me. I grew up with certain values, certain emotions, and certain belief system, certain limiting belief system. And then at the age 14, I moved to the UK and I went to boarding school, and then I moved to the US, and I tried my hardest to blend in. But then you begin, once you having this duality within yourself, where within you, in your heart, you have certain mindsets, and the society that you're living in currently has another mindset. You have no choice but for your back to be broken after a while, because you're basically being torn between two completely different worlds. And I didn't know how to make these two worlds align and match, so I could live in oneness within myself.
Yeah.
And as long as you're going out there in the world and there is so much duality within you, you end up just getting heartbroken right and left, because everything you're doing is not aligned with what your heart desires.
Yeah.
And for me, I was aware that something's off, and because my measure of success is joy. My only measure of success is if my heart is content.
That's good.
And I could see that by the Western standards, I am checking all the checklist, the entire checklist of achieving. Okay, I had this goal, I had this vision board, I had this list of goals that I needed to achieve, and then I'm ticking them off one by one. But it's not adding to my happiness, you know. And I reached a point where I was like, okay, I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, and from the Western standards, it sounds like I should be happy.
Yeah.
But then what's going on?
Yeah.
And that was the time that I decided to take a journey inwards and see how I can achieve success on the inside.
And how did you do that?
Okay, so let's say if the compass of success is determined by the number of things you've achieved and the number of goals you were able to tick off your bucket list. If you do all of that, but you're not happy on the inside, you've failed already. And that's how I felt at the time. So I decided to put my work on hold, my career on hold, and focus on the little me, the little child within myself, and attend to her, because I realized I've done everything on the outside but attend to my inner world. I saw that in the last 10 years, deep down in my subconscious, I had this belief system that I cannot protect myself, that I'm not capable of looking after myself, and I always need a man to feel protected.
Oh.
And that communication had landed with my immune system, and my immune system said, yes, you're right. I cannot protect you. You need other people to protect you. And hence that manifested into me, the pharmaceutical medications, which was taking other people's immune system. It's called immunoglobulin therapy, if anybody wants to look it up, and inject that into my body, which I know a lot of people are doing right now.
Yeah.
So the exact message that my subconscious communicated with me was manifested into my day-to-day life, and my body said, yes, you're absolutely right.
Oh my goodness.
And that was the moment that I realized why I did to myself what I did to myself. Basically, whatever I feel like every time a disease is manifested is us doing it to ourselves through our subconscious mind. And once you understand why you did it, you also have the power to undo it. So I spoke to my immune system, and I told my immune system that I'm very capable of protecting myself, that I believe in my immune system, and that I believe in me. And while having a lovely man next to you who can add joy to your life is amazing, I don't need a man to feel protected.
Right.
I feel more than capable to protect myself. And in that very moment, I realized why my career achievements had not given me satisfaction, because deep down, I had this belief system that I cannot protect myself. So I decided that on the outside, I will do the opposite so I can prove to the world that I can protect myself. But my why was wrong. I was doing something to prove something to myself, which I
Yes.
didn't believe in.
Oh, honey. Oh, my deeply. This is like sinking in so deep. And, you know, as a fellow achiever, we can get so busy achieving that we're masking the internal drama, dialogue, the battlefield of the mind. And when you were in that moment, stepping in and speaking over your life, like you have control of what's going on. This is the ultimate freedom.
Yes.
And it's like, we're not saying don't go out there, crush it, achieve, but if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, it's like motives matter. And eventually, like, none of that stuff matters if you're sitting at home or in your head or suffering in silence. You know, it's like, oh, yay, I'm on this cover, or I did this. And then it's like, you know, I got to this point in my life where people are like, aren't you just over the moon? And are you so, you know, and it's like, no, something's off. And when something's off, you got to do that internal examination. And then that's when you find, like, wow, this is what's blocking me from my true essence, my true happiness. And, you know, do you feel like you went from being more in your alpha like masculine? Were you more, do you step more into your feminine nature when you started to heal?
That's where I was headed
Yeah,
to actually.
yeah.
Because so in that moment, that experience, I knew my immune system was healed and awakened right there and then. I didn't even need anybody to tell me, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it into test medically. I need to do my blood test and check my immune system components, and then see there are so many things, your IgG and your this and that, what is low, what is
Wow.
high. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it into test and see if it's medically made a difference. I waited for a month, contacted my immunologist and said, you know what, I want to tell you something. I have not been doing my treatments for a month and I haven't been sick. He lost it on me. He's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I made so much effort to get you this point, and your insurance approved your treatments and that, and which is true, by the way.
Yeah.
I said, let's take a test. He said, okay, we're taking a test, but you're starting your treatments again. I said, I'm not. My body doesn't need that anymore. My body only needed that because I thought I'm not capable of protecting myself. Now my body knows she's capable of protecting me.
Wow.
We took the test. My immune system is healthy. All the components are normal. And I haven't been on my treatments for the last 4 months. And I feel very healthy.
Wow.
And my immune system and I are best friends.
So good.
So what I learned right there was that all these years I had been operating from my masculine side. My masculine energy kicked in because the masculine is the achiever, it's the provider, it's the doer, right? But the truth is my homeostasis state is my femininity. And I wanted to prove that I can do it, but I wasn't able to prove to my own heart that I can do it while being true to myself. Being true to myself, I'm a feminine being.
Yeah.
I feel more grounded and stable when I'm in my femininity.
Yeah.
Now, when and if the masculine energy needs to kick in, it's ready. It's right there.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be my operating phase. I don't want that to be my default mode. I don't want I don't feel, it's not authentic to me to have my masculine energy be my driving force most of the times. It's there when it's needed. And I came back and I made it my mission to help women of my background, because I understand Middle Eastern culture, Middle Eastern society, Middle Eastern family belief systems. And I know that most of us growing up with Middle Eastern cultures, we are more comfortable in our feminine energy.
Yeah.
Yet we are now growing up in the world where it's like your measure of success is your achievements, and the achievement needs the masculine. Now, how can you be in your feminine energy yet succeed in business?
Yes, this is the question I get all the time. Literally, this is what I get. So help us. How?
Our job as a feminine being, and I'm not talking, this has nothing to do with your biological or sexual orientation. Femininity is an energy. You can be the embodiment of the feminine energy, but with the biology of a man or a woman. So this is sexuality, and sexual orientation and biology is not a point here, because I don't want anybody to get distracted or blame their biology on anything. Biology has nothing to do with the energy. We're talking about the feminine energy. Feminine energy is the creator. Feminine energy is the nurturer. Feminine energy is the soft. What does this world need right now? Does this world need more money? No. Does this world need more businesses? No. Why? How do we know that? Because when the pandemic hit, all the money in the world and all the businesses couldn't save us. Correct? When we had millions of people on hospital beds and they couldn't move, and all the nurses and doctors were overwhelmed, no amount of money or businesses were able to help us. What ended up helping us? Softness, compassion, and people who were willing to nurture one another. People who were willing to open the doors to their houses and say, come live with me. I know you lost your job. I know you lost your house. I know you lost your family. Come live with me. So what this world needs right now is more of the feminine energy, because for hundreds of years, the masculine energy has been the driving force on the earth. And we created this beautiful earth and businesses and like the money flow. Yes, we did all of that. But now it's time for the world to come to its balance. And the only way for the world to come to the balance is if more feminine people step into their femininity and focus on creating and nurturing and being compassionate.
Love.
And that by itself has tremendous value. Now, if money is your measure of measuring your values, measuring whether or not you're succeeding, more women need to understand how to package their compassion, their care, their nurturing as a service to others.
Amen.
We need more careers that are the manifestations of my service is nurturing, my service is compassion, my service is my softness.
That's right.
I will package it so you'll know if that's what you need. There it is. This is the business.
This is so, you are like speaking my love language right now. It truly is. And it's like, so I've transcended and grown through healing, and I used to play so in my dominant, like I didn't have a dad growing up, so that I tried to compromise, and when I started to heal, Megan, that's when it's like my true essence came out, like the try hard went away, the softness came out, the love came out. Like I just really have changed in the past couple of years, grown. And so, you know, everybody DMs me and message me, and so many women are like us where they're naturally driven and they want to succeed, but they're operating in a place that doesn't feel, something feels off. And so the way you just put it is like, mwah, like it's so divine, so I'm so grateful. And, you know, I know with you, like, your father passed when you were young, correct?
Yes, when I was 19.
When you were 19.
And he repeatedly told me that he is my protector, that he is my abundance, and if he's not around, nobody else will protect me. Now, I understand that he said it because it was his parental instinct. It was his way of wanting me to always tell him everything and share everything with him, and I really admire him for that. But ultimately, when he was no longer around, all those messages were stuck with me. That, oh my God, he's no longer around, so I cannot protect myself. He's no longer around, so I cannot provide for myself. And what do? I step into my masculine. So then the masculine can protect me, the masculine can provide for me, the masculine within myself. But then my body said, but your stable point, like your authentic place that you want to sit in is your femininity. What are you doing? Yeah, provide for yourself, great, but I'm not going to cooperate. Because this is not authentic to me.
When did you come to LA?
I moved to LA 2 years after my father passed. I was a PhD student in the UK when he passed away.
Wow.
So I honored that because he always wanted me to be a biomedical engineer. We had a deal. He said, I want you to be an academic girl because culturally being in the media business is being looked down upon, and it wasn't a good reputation for my family that I would be in the media business. It's like, it's the same thing as, you know, like things, it's like being in the media business for a woman equals I don't even want to say it because I don't want to put that word out there in the universe, but I think you got the point.
I totally know.
So my father said, okay, I get it. I understand you. I understand that media business is the most valuable business in the world because otherwise how do people connect? How do you connect people if it's not because of media? How do you raise awareness about causes and products and people out there without the microphone of media, right? He said, but I need you to get an academic degree so I can tell the society that, look, she's smart.
Oh
she
my
gets
gosh.
it.
Yeah.
So they would respect you and they would respect me. And when he passed away, I still honored that, finished my academic years, and then moved to the U.S. and brought my family to the U.S. with me.
Oh, you brought your family
Yes.
with, okay.
Yes.
And so what was like your first gig? I mean, I saw you on the Kardashians. Like you've been,
Oh my God.
you've just done so much.
So when I moved to the U.S., a part of me is like, I love media. I love the PR world. Like the power of media is just life changing because you connect people with each other. You connect people with technologies and products out there that can be life changing for them. But there's also this voice in the back of my mind that a good Middle Eastern woman is an academic woman. You know, she's respected. She has to be a PhD. She's not in the media business. Otherwise, you're a bad girl and your father is not around to protect you. Okay, stay within your academia. So I started working for a genetic testing company for BRCA testing, which is the test for breast and ovarian cancer predisposition. And I became their spokesperson. Now, my heart is in the media world. My mind and my limiting belief system says you need to be an academic girl because you need to be a good girl. But here I was at war between, let's say, the bad girl and the good girl. And the bad girl here took over and said, you know what? Okay, why don't we combine it? You have this genetic test. Let's make it the biggest thing in the world. And it was just a line because a very lovely doctor in Beverly Hills, his name is Dr. Garth Fisher, my respect to him, my love to him.
Oh, yes.
He gave me an opportunity to talk to all of his patients about the genetic test. And he sees every A-lister on the planet Earth.
Yes, he does.
And I spoke about the testing, and Kris Jenner said, I want you on the show. I want the testing on the show. And one thing led to another, and I was able to over-deliver for the company and make the show, make the testing very well known. And then from there, I felt like, you know what? Now I established myself as the brainy girl, so now I can go fully indulge in the media business.
So cool.
Yes.
It's so cool. I mean, I love that. It's like you found a way to win in both places.
Yes.
And doing the genetic testing, that's got to be so rewarding, though.
It was rewarding in terms of I was able to do media for a good cause, to raise awareness about something that is life-changing, that can help people with their health. Yeah. And that's my mission. My mission is to create the largest media platform to raise awareness about the good. Oh. It can be good causes, it can be good products, it can be good people. Yeah. And create a tribe and a community of people who are like-minded and they can really live joyfully and authentically with each other.
Beautiful. Have you ever found that hard in Hollywood? Like, have you succumbed to...
I have not succumbed.
Okay.
As long as I don't succumb, I'm happy wherever I am. Yeah. But the second I try to abide by the rules of each, the media rules, because media should not have any rules. Right. What is media? Media is freedom of speech. Media is freedom of sharing your heart. I am in the business of sharing hearts and sharing emotions. You cannot put any laws or any rules on that because heart feels and wants what it wants, right? Yeah. And it has to be shared. We have to feel like we have a safe space to share how we feel and why we feel that way. Mm-hmm. So my media platforms are always between the US and the Middle East because that's the two people within me. There's this Western girl, but then there's this Middle Eastern girl. And for me to feel like these two are balanced and aligned, I always have one foot in the US media and one foot in the Middle Eastern media to make sure that I can align them and bring them together. And eventually, I want to bring Middle Eastern sisters closer to Western sisters because there is a gap. Right now there is a gap where because it's for me it's all about creating more women's circles, manifesting, like creating jobs that match the capabilities of the feminine energy, packaging the feminine energy into different jobs, creating offers and services that are aligned with the feminine energy, right? Yes. And for that, we need to have more women talking. Yeah, we do. We need to have more women brainstorming. And right now, it's hard to bring in a group of Middle Eastern women and a group of Western women together and have them share values because there are a lot of differences. Even when we try, and I've tried many, many times, it's nice when it's about brainstorming, but when it comes about the heart to heart, there are differences. And the closer we get these two groups together, the more chances we have to create global women's circles, global feminine circles. Yeah. And then wow,
It's-
that's when magic's gonna
That's
happen.
when magic's going to happen.
That's gonna bring the earth more to its balance and
Yeah.
its equilibrium, and everyone will enjoy more. The masculine will enjoy more. Just imagine if we can have more businesses that are focused on compassion, nurturing, and loving. Oh my God, like that would be literal heaven on earth for both the masculine and the feminine.
100%. You know, I always share with other women that are trying to grow in their leadership. I share with them, go to a different country, go talk to another woman from a different side of the street that's growing up in a different way. Like, you have to evolve, and the only way to do that is to experience true humanity. And like when I've traveled to South Korea, and like, yes, we had a translator to understand and feel each other, but it's like that unity. Or even going to Africa, it's like, that's your sister.
Correct.
You know, and what can happen if we come together as women? Oh, you're speaking like all my love language
And
right
you
now.
know, I know I focused very much on the feminine energy
Yeah.
and what does the feminine need. I want to use this opportunity to connect with the masculine energy,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's embodied as a man or a woman, the masculine energy. The role the masculine energy can play into enabling this world to come to its balance by allowing the feminine energy to be expressed. The role of the masculine is very crucial and it's key. I want to ask all the embodiments of the masculine energy out there to tune more into the feminine next to you. Enable the feminine to create what their heart desires and help them package that feeling, emotion, creation into a service. I don't want to call it a business. In the end, what is a business? Business is a service we provide to others, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The masculine's forte, like the masculine's strength is turning things into businesses,
Yes.
turning services into action. It's the action, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask them to help the feminine to turn their creativity into action and execution and a service.
Yeah, so powerful. And I mean, I want to switch gears a minute because there's so many entrepreneurs that listen to this, so many entrepreneurs. And you have built a massive brand. I mean, you've got, I love how global it is, and you've got the dualities, but you've got, you know, the show on Fox and all the stuff you've created. You know, what would be some tips you have around personal branding? Because you have a strong personal brand.
Find you first. Find you first, who you are, what your heart really desires, and then find a clear path of communicating who you are with the world. Your job is not to look at the consumer and decide what's right for them. Your job is to look at you, understand who you are exactly, and communicate that as clearly as you can with the world around you and see how that can be of service to them. Your consumer comes once you put yourself out there, your authentic self.
Yeah.
Because the consumer is the one who comes to you and say, you know what, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's my package.
Yeah.
That's my service. For
Yes.
example, you're walking around and you see somebody carrying bottles of water, right? If you're thirsty, you go to them and say, can I have water? But it's their job to hold those waters and not hide them in their car and
Yes.
say, you know what, I have water. And then the thirsty people will go to them, and like by default, they don't need to go after the thirsty people. They just need to tell the world, I have water. I'm good at producing water. I'm good at having water bottles. Just say what you're good at.
Yeah.
And let the consumers come to you and help you turn who you are into a service, which is your business.
So powerful. Instead of faking it and going, I should do this, you put on a mask. It's like there's a resonance to that. There's a frequency to authenticity. And like it's just, you can feel it, and you're it's that magnetism, and yeah, it's evident that you're doing that, and you know that you are like just, you're wide open, like this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm about, and there's an attraction to that. And you know, I was researching about you, and I'm like, okay, here she is with J-Lo. She's every which way. And like, this is so amazing though, that not only are you standing for, beauty, but beauty within as well. And that's one of the best compliments I want to give you right now, is that you're the best of both sides. Like, you're this gorgeous human, but you equally are talking about, the internal as well.
Yes.
And it's beautiful to see. And as another woman on the other side who loves beauty, loves health, I'm like, oh, praise God. Like, okay, she's doing both of it, which is such a good example for all of our fellow sisters.
People that are already into personal development, growth, spirituality, and understanding energy, they're already halfway there. They are already seekers. What's going to change the world right now is not converting those people to go farther. It's converting the people who are really stuck deep into the ego and the material world to look up and say that maybe there is something else out there outside of this small, egoic circle that I've built for myself. And what do those people look at? Those people look at how you dress, what you wear, your jewelry, your packaging, your car.
Yeah.
And I realized that actually, you know what? We as humanity, we've done a lousy job to promote spirituality on the earth. Mm-hmm. Because when you think of someone spiritual, you think of them as it's a monk, like they're not wearing any makeup,
or
no hair,
pastor,
no jewelry, a pastor. Okay, so they're not. And then if you're somebody who's deep into the material world, you look at them and you're like, great, but I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
But why aren't we? Why don't we believe that we deserve both?
Right.
We deserve the best of the material world and the best of the spiritual world, because that's when we're going to feel the balance, and that's when we're going to have heaven on earth.
Yeah.
So I want to actually ask all the people, spiritual leaders out there that are promoting spirituality, step it up when it comes to the material world as well, because that will allow a new audience, people that really need spirituality, to look at you and think, oh, maybe that is something I want to listen to. It's the packaging.
It's the packaging.
It's the packaging.
Yeah, which is like marketing, and it's
correct.
Yeah. It's so, you are so spot on, and you can and you deserve both. You deserve the abundance, and as long as you don't let it own you, and you're free flowing with it,
correct,
and you can give it away just as fast as you can gain
correct.
it. That's
why you need both.
Yeah.
You need as much spirituality as you need the material, so none of them can own you.
Yeah.
Because we're a free soul. We're not supposed to, the same way that falling into the ego of a materialistic person is painful, falling into the ego of a spiritual person can be equally, as ineffective.
Sometimes self-righteous, sometimes
correct.
It's
correct.
like, I am right, they are not holy
correct.
enough. Condemning, it's
correct.
just gross,
But when you have both, it allows you to not have anything.
Right.
Because you're flowing in between the both states.
Yeah.
So it allows you to lose it all, your mind, your thoughts. And I saw this behind us. You said it's the little things make big things happen. And I saw another one when you said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself. So when you are floating between the both spiritual and the earthy realms, that's the time when you fully lose yourself and you lose your mind. And that's when you become a conduit of service to the others.
Yes, so beautiful, Megan. Wow. Oh, what are you most excited about right now? Like, what are you working on? What are you doing?
Two things I'm very excited about. So I'm launching a platform to create an experience, a glimpse into the experience of what I went through, because I love sharing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is I am creating an educational platform for women of Middle Eastern backgrounds to understand, to become conscious about their limiting beliefs and find ways to transcend the limiting belief and succeed in the business world while being in their feminine energy.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
So these two are my two creations, my two babies that I'm fully focused on right now.
And as we're here today, I know you go back and forth from LA to Dubai.
Correct.
How is that? Like, how is it going from there to here? Like, how often do you do that?
It's like the two Megans.
Yeah,
That's how I balance the two Megans.
Yeah.
The Middle East is home.
Yeah.
It's my heart. And here, the West is, let's say, the West is my educational years. This is my education. This is my community. This is my microphone. The West is my microphone to raise the voice of the East.
Oh, that's so good.
So that's like, I feel like the best way to bring these two groups of sisterhoods together is to raise the voice of Middle Eastern women in America. And in the end, the largest microphone in the world is in America. And I think will always be, at least in our lifetime. So yeah, Megan feels very balanced when I have the LA Dubai life, and I go back and forth about once a month.
Okay.
And yes, working on these two projects.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What do you think your it factor is?
Communication.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you're playing in your zone of genius.
That's communication for me.
Yeah.
Communication while I'm in my feminine energy. So it can be communicated from the heart. So my heart speaks.
Your heart speak. I can feel it. I can feel it from here, and you can probably feel it listening. And it's such a beautiful place to live from. There's so much freedom when you live in your heart.
Yes.
It's your truth. There's nothing to hide.
Yes.
Like hiding is exhausting to the soul.
Yes.
And being somebody you're not, and like you're just living in freedom. And I'm so excited to watch you continue to soar. And however I can be here for you and support you. Like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I feel so grateful. And let everybody know where they can connect with you.
Please connect with me at Megan Pormer on Instagram.
Yes.
I check every single message I receive.
Awesome.
And if there's any feminine embodiment out there who's listening to this, I want you to stop achieving right now and go within and ask yourself if your heart is fully content. Because if the answer is no, your achievements don't matter. No, it doesn't matter even if you achieve 1,000,000 times more. It's not success unless your heart is content. Have joy as your only measure of success.
We'll leave it there. Drop the mic. Take it with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.